Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? It's your Friday guy Cole, and we're back for another video, of course. So this week's topic is successful people and how being trans has affected my social life. So when it comes to successful people, I haven't really got too much to say on that sort of section there because the guys have covered quite a lot of it. So the two people that I favour the most, I'd say, would be mainly Laith Ashley and Laverne Cox. Now there are obviously a hell of a lot more trans people that are successful and well known out there, but I don't really know about too many of them. I do want to do some more research into, who's in my community, in the sort of wider world, I guess. But yeah, those two are probably my favourites, predominantly just because they're doing their thing, they're doing it well, they're representing our community, in the best way that they can. And yeah, it's just blessed to know that those two people are the ones that are sort of setting an example for the community and allowing the cis community to sort of see these people and see that they're just human and see that they're just like everybody else, and we can be successful. And it's just nice to see that we're doing our thing and that we're being as successful as we can be, and just representing. So so when it comes to my social life, so before I started T, I thought I was quite an outgoing person. I thought that I was quite comfortable with myself in social situations. Now, looking back at that now, at this time right here, right now, nah, not even close. Like, in comparison to how I feel now in myself when I'm in a social situation and how I think and how everything just, it's completely different, and it's just so much sort of stronger, and it's so much more natural and so much more relaxed now. So as I say, so before T, I thought I was quite outgoing, but then when I started T, I sort of went downhill quite a lot, so I found it quite difficult to socialise. I found it, I was just quite anxious in social situations, so I was always sort of overthinking and worrying about this and that, and whether or not I was doing something right, sitting right, saying something right, etc. I was just worrying all the time, pretty much. And so in general, I mean, really looking back, it was quite a sort of stressful time that I went through. It was quite difficult, but as I've sort of found my feet, as I've sort of progressed through my transition, it's just become so much more natural and so much more just easy and relaxed. And like, so say I'm socialising with cis males, I used to sit and overthink and worry about everything, as I say, and yeah, now it's just effortless. Obviously I know that it'll become even more effortless because there are still some times where I worry, or where I think, was that a bit weird, or was that this, that, I don't know. It completely varies with the situation. So there are still times where I have my little trip ups, but even still, it's just so much more natural, as I say. I mean, but it does make sense, because I was saying to my friend the other day that when it comes to puberty, the first time, if you think about the first time you had puberty, think of how awkward you felt and how weird and how sort of much you were having a wobble, and you were just, you were still finding your feet and still trying to understand yourself because your body was changing, and you were just like, oh god, what's going on, So just because we're adults, that doesn't mean that we're not going to go through exactly the same thing, because why wouldn't we? It's still puberty. Your body's still changing a hell of a lot, and so of course you're gonna sort of lose your feet a little bit and sort of end up starting from the beginning of being social and developing those skills again. It makes sense. So yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of entirely natural to go through this sort of thing, especially when you're going through a transition. So yeah, it's just so empowering and so much of a blessing to be finding my feet when I didn't think it would happen this sort of out of the blue, I guess, because last time I checked I was making a video to you guys about how I would worry in social situations, and now it's fine. Like, I hang out with cis males and it's absolutely fine. There's no issues. When it comes to hanging out with females, that has changed actually. So before, I'd be more likely to get involved in if they were all laughing really loudly or I don't know, shouting, singing, whatever they'd be doing at the time. It was quite likely that I'd get involved, or I'd just be more sort of actively involved in that social sort of scenario. But now I just don't really tend to relate to that so much anymore, and I couldn't say as to whether or not that's my hormones changing, my sort of emotions, or if socially I've changed in, like, you know, too far to sort of relate to that so much, or if it's a mixture of the two. But either way, I just don't really relate to it, so I'll just sort of stand back on the sidelines a bit more when that sort of thing is happening, which is, you know, it's fine for me. I had no issue with that. But you know, when it comes to people knowing that I'm trans, I do find that you do feel different in a social situation, and you know, that's just something that you've got to get used to. I mean, it's not a bad thing at all, of course, but it's just something that you just, as a trans person in a predominantly cis world, you know, it is what it is. That's just kind of what happens, and that's just what you've got to get used to. So when it comes to people knowing, as I say, going back to that, so when cis males know, they predominantly, it's been sort of positive reactions, so they just sort of say, okay, that doesn't change anything, alright, and then just carry on with whatever we were talking about before. But females like to sort of ask questions a lot more. I find that sometimes they sort of become more interested in you than they were before because you're different, which is, I don't know, it's a bit strange, but I just kind of go with it, I guess. Sometimes, I don't know, but yeah, you just kind of answer the questions that they ask, and some of them can be quite personal because they don't really know how to word things and how to, you know, what's off limits, I guess, and what could be seen as sort of like a trigger to dysphoria sort of thing. You know, they don't really understand that word, which is, you know, I understand that, so I wouldn't get mad if they've sort of, you know, made me feel a bit weird about things because they don't know any different. So, you know, I'll just talk to them about it and just go from there. Yeah, as I say, as a whole, I've developed socially so much more. It's just so much more natural, so much more effortless. It's empowering to be able to do this and just be with other people and just be myself completely, in and out, through and through. So it's great. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this week's video, guys. So I hope you have a great week. As I say, check out all the guys. Make sure that you show some love on our Instagram if you are following that one. And I will see you guys next week. Alright, peace.